What's up, guys? Cinematic here, bringing you the Greater Toronto Halo Episode 1, Battle of the Territories. On today's episode, Toronto faces off against Seattle in this inter-store Microsoft battle. They're more than likely going to get this cap. I catch up with Seattle tournament organizer James Peretta to get his thoughts on the upcoming matchup.
I want to make sure that we're not coming into this and going to get completely stomped.
And the two Toronto squads battle it out to prove who is the supreme Toronto team. So, sit back.
Got OVO Scorpion trying to push and get that touch. No way.
Relax.
Another one come in.
And get ready for the first episode of the Greater Toronto Halo.
Cinematic. And he's getting loud. And he gets it. Oh my god.
We're here in the Microsoft Store in Square One, about to witness the inter-store battle of Toronto versus Seattle. Some of Toronto's best players are in attendance today looking to play some Halo and represent their city. The players are warming up and the matches are about to begin. I caught up with community organizer Martin to give us a rundown of the format.
It's a bit of a test format here, so we're just going with two teams from both the Toronto and the Seattle stores in a 4v4 showdown. So we're having a pool play format to start it out, where we're going to be having a bunch of best of fives going on, where the teams will then be seeded into an elimination style, where we'll be seeing some best of 7 matchups to decide who is the inaugural champion between Toronto and Seattle.
Before hopping into the highlights, let's hear from James Peretta, the tournament organizer from Seattle, to get his predictions for the tournament. Our scene in Toronto, we've been gaining a bit of momentum, and it's pretty sweet because we've attracted some really talented Halo players, and I think that we've put together quite the strong roster against this Seattle team. So how do you think the Seattle team is going to fare against our stacked Toronto team?
Yeah, I had a really good conversation with Martin around what their skill levels are. One of the things I'm, without sounding like I'm scared, I was like, hey, I want to make sure that we're not coming into this and going to get completely stomped. We had certain cities that were just getting completely poopied on, and they don't like that. And the teams that were annihilating them, they were like, we don't actually enjoy beating these kids out that badly. When you're younger, you're like, oh my gosh, I am a GOAT. But really, you want some really solid competition. I really do think that we're going to bring forth a team. I've got an A string, and then we've also invited the 343 Pro team. Our other squad's going to be myself, Nick McCormick, who came down with me to compete in Vegas. And I'm bringing in my buddy Jess Albrecht, who's a developer on a lot of the smaller projects that we do. We've also got a buddy of mine that I moved out with that works at Microsoft named Matt Yeager. He was my first partner in crime, so this is going to be a nice little throwback for us. He was an MLG 50 with me, but just like myself, he's getting a little bit washed up. So we'll see. I don't think that there's going to be a blowout in either direction. I know the local scene. I know you guys got some serious talent, and I think that that's something that the local people need us, that are the tiers below, to kind of have those heroes to look up to and to have that advice on how to get better and to be able to play with them because they're local.
For the complete interview and to hear James's philosophy on organizing tournaments, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/TorontoHalo. Match 1 of the day saw Toronto team Neighbors Washed square off against Seattle 1. It was quickly apparent that this Toronto team was quite strong and that Seattle would need to put in a good effort if they wanted to be victorious. Game 1 saw Neighbors Washed defeat Seattle 3-0 on Capture the Flag Coliseum. Game 2 started with an aggressive push from Toronto. Toronto was able to control power-ups and power weapons early. With great teamwork and communication, Toronto was once again victorious over the Seattle team with a score of 50-35. On Game 3, we headed to Plaza Strongholds, where this Toronto squad once again bested their Seattle counterparts. Hope Annihilate led the way in the slaying department throughout the series, and team captain Martin kept his deaths to a minimum. The other side of the tournament saw the Six battle it out against Seattle 2. This series was much the same as the other Toronto series, with the Six sweeping Seattle 2. One of the notable stats included the Six captain straight sniping, pulling off a running riot on Plaza. Heading into round 2, both Toronto teams swept their Seattle counterparts. Round 2 saw the Seattle team switch places and play the Toronto teams that they haven't yet played. In Game 1 of Neighbors Washed vs Seattle 1, Toronto continued their dominance. This game was marked by Toronto's ability to control power-ups led by the veteran Yoshi. Toronto ended up winning Eden Strongholds 100-65. In Game 2, Seattle showed some signs of life. Until the 20 kill mark, Toronto and Seattle were neck and neck. However, Toronto's teamwork started to heat up, and it proved too much to handle for this Seattle team. Toronto ended up winning Plaza Slayer 50-38. In Game 3, Toronto got off to an early 2-0 flag cap lead. With 6 minutes left on the clock, Seattle managed to get a flag cap, perhaps hinting at a comeback. With time dwindling down, Seattle tied up the score 2-2. With less than a minute left, James Fury of Seattle positioned himself top middle as his teammate ran the flag. With great teamwork, Seattle was able to put in the third flag and win Game 3. Game 4 saw players on the rig in a game of strongholds. I am a robot, boop beep, beep boop. Throughout the game, Toronto maintained firm control, outslaying their opponents consistently. Unfortunately for Seattle, the momentum that they gained in Game 3 was not carried into Game 4. The final score of this one was 100-10 in favor of Neighbors Washed. After 2 rounds, both Toronto teams are undefeated. This next match will be a civil war, as the Toronto teams will be pitted up against each other. I caught up with the captain of the Six straight sniping to ask what it's going to take to defeat Neighbors Washed.
If we play as well as we did the first couple games, it won't be an issue. Like once we kind of got the lead, we kind of collapsed on them, and they kind of just fell apart. If we can do that, we won't have an issue.
Who's the player to look out for on your team?
You know what? We're all pretty good. We went pretty even. But you know what? Those last 2 games, I did really go off. So maybe me.
Players are in the lobby and ready to start the match. Let's go to the only Zoltan for the call.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the only Zoltan here in the booth now. We've got the 2 Toronto teams facing off. We've got Neighbors Washed taking on the Six. Jump in with Capture the Flag on Fathom. Starting off on straight sniping here. That's 2 players down now. 3 players down now for Neighbors Washed. Catches players running bottom mid, seeing somebody on the jump up. Finishes off that kill bottom mid as well. And a killing spree for straight sniping here on top mid here. Trying to force the spawns over under the garage. Now he's got to come back and support this flag run. Knows the guy's weak. And that's a flag cap for Neighbors Washed. Tying that up 1-1. That's 3 dead. Now for Neighbor is 3 shots. This could be another flag run here for the red squad, but they go 3 down. Martin needs to stay alive here on the other side of the map. The enemies know he's here now. They're going to definitely look to clean him up, but he gets 1 quick kill, throws the flag out. He could get around this corner, but he drops shooting for the recov. There's going to be 2 people coming at him from the porch. They're probably going to get this recov, and there it is. Managed to get the kill and the recov. And Mason picking up that railgun bottom mid. That's a big pickup for them. Ooh. Manages to make that player 1 shot. That's 2 dead now for the Six. And they're making this run. Now he's got to look for those spawners. There we go. Gets the railgun on the player in the treehouse. That's 2 dead again. They get the flag up to their porch, but there are 2 players pushing into their side. There's going to be another one bottom mid. 2 players pushing across into the base, but that should be a cap there for Neighbors Wash, and it is 2-1 now, as they take the lead with 5 minutes and 25 seconds left in the game. Their side of the map, they need to support this flag run back now and make sure that they're on their own side of the map. There are players from Neighbors Washed already on their side of the map now, pushing into their small door to pull this flag. This is going to be close. We got OVO Scorpion throwing out that flag, going for the return. They managed to get it. 3 players now soaring in. That's 3 dead, going for the counter cap. They're going to throw that flag out. 1 player right behind him coming out of that base. Oh, and he fumbles the flag, dropping it. Now we've got OVO Scorpion trying to push and get that touch. Oh, but he can't manage to get it. That's going to get returned back to their base. That's 2 down for Neighbors Washed. 3 down for Neighbors Washed as they run this 3rd and final flag. Sean looks to be fairly clear. Yosh needs to pull this flag out if he wants to stop that. And he's taken down. That's a 3-2 victory in overtime for the 6. A great back and forth match. These 2 Canadian teams really evenly matched, but right at the end there, the 6 able to pull out enough map straight sniping, dropping 41 kills, 13 assists, 21 deaths with 5k damage. We're going to jump on board with straight sniping out of the gate. The guy putting up insane numbers in that last game. That's 3 down off the break, and they get the overshield as well. That's the 6 looking to keep the pace of this game quick, trying to make sure that Neighbors Washed doesn't get back into it. They do have some strong slaying talent on that team, so if they get even the slightest of edges, they could definitely come back into this game. They are not down by an insurmountable margin. Still plenty of time left, over 8 minutes left in the game. Down 36 to 20, 15 kills now is not an insurmountable margin. Finds Martin Holmes and Yosh on the P Street. Those 2 players are both getting pinched. And he's 1 shot bottom mid. That guy's going to get cleaned up. Turns with the pulse rifle and finishes that off. That team shot just too much for Neighbors Week, or Neighbors Washed. Sorry, finishing that game off 50 to 38 for the 6. Definitely going to need to see the teamwork from Neighbors Washed if they want to come back in this 3rd game. Going into game 3, Strongholds Empire could be the last game of this series. It would be pretty impressive to see the 6 3-0, such a strong squad. Jump on board with Yosh from Neighbors Washed. He's going to push outside for this overshield, trying to connect. Oh, 6 manages to pick up, the 6 picking up that overshield. That's Sean there with that overshield, pushing out into the pit. Cleaning up 1 more player. That's 2 dead on Neighbors Washed. They do have 3 in pit. They should be able to get this. They do manage to capture pit. They are just waiting to pick up the other stronghold. But while he does it, Neighbors Washed picking up pit. They are not going down without a fight. They are going to fight for every single stronghold. The teamwork is back for Neighbors Washed. Neighbors Washed just trying to create a little chaos, create that objective dilemma, and they manage to take all 3 strongholds by creating that chaos. But that's all right. They just lost map control. That's the reset. And Neighbors Washed pulling up all 3 strongholds. We need to see the 6 get a little map control and just hold this setup. Right now they are getting outslayed and out-rotated by Neighbors Washed. They need some picks here. Just keep control. Get Neighbors Washed on a bad spawn cycle. That's a triple kill for X-Man. Cleaning out that pit stronghold, keeping their dreams alive here in game feed to get those points back. Playing a little ring around the rosy with the player in red. But they do manage to get a triple cap while distracting at least 3 players here in the red, on the red side of the map. They clean up more players as well. They're going to soar pit, but that's exactly where the 6 is headed as well. 2 players staying alive in that pit, and 4 go down for Neighbors Washed. He's going to soar back to try and defend that, but loses 1 base. They still have control, and they manage to tie the game up, now taking the lead. The 6 with the lead. Now Neighbors Washed needs to come up with something here. Only 5 points left before they are going to be 3-0. That's it. That is game with the comeback for the 3-0. The 6 getting loud. 2 of those games seemed very close. That last game definitely looked like it was going to go in favor of Neighbors Washed, but the 6 just showing their resilience, forcing the Slays back onto Neighbors Washed, and they had no response. So definitely some strong play out of the 6. Definitely some great stats. X-Man putting up 26 and 10. We saw him for a lot of that game, just rotating around the map. He was a big part of what brought them back into that match, getting that map control, holding at least one of those strongholds basically by himself.
In the end, the 6 ended up beating Neighbors Washed 3-0. On the other side of the bracket, we saw much the same as Seattle 1 beat Seattle 2 3-0. The finals saw the 6 against Seattle 1 in a best-of-7 series where, as expected, the 6 won 4-0. I'll send it back to the only Zoltan now with the sign-off. My name is Cinematic, and remember, guns out and keep it clean.
And that is it. The teamwork, too much from the 6. Able to close that game out and sweep the series 4-0, showing Seattle what Toronto Halo is capable of. A great showing here from the 6. Some fantastic teamwork, some great plays. Even the 3-4-3 help on the Seattle side just isn't enough to quell these Toronto monsters. Great gameplay out of both of these Toronto teams and our 2 teams from Seattle. Definitely some awesome gameplay and definitely something to look forward to in the future. We'll be streaming it all here at twitch.tv/TorontoHalo, as well as our new website, www.greatertorontohalo.com, where you can find all these events and any new information coming out for the Toronto Halo scene. Guys, I'm the only Zoltan. Thanks for tuning into the stream, and we will see you at the next one.
Look, my prize! No, I won the headset.